Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do rule well and teach His truth, honesty and sincerity. Salutations to you brothers around the four corners of the earth that push this truth, risking your lives and freedom to do so as well, with all honesty and sincerity, to wake up the hopeful elect. It's your brother Azar from GMS St. Louis camp, and just bringing out video of some of the reasons why Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, the great whore mentioned in the scriptures, aka America, will be destroyed because of its disregard for the Most High's laws, the treatment, the mistreatment, I should say, of the world, the animals, the plants, the people, the way they maliciously lie and scheme and connive to get what they want. They are the wicked seed, and the whole world is fed up with it. Ultimately, the Most High is fed up with it. He's bringing an end to their rulership. But I have a video on the play by Noam Chomsky, Crimes of the U.S. Presidents.
He said that if the Nuremberg principles were applied, every post-World War II president would be indictable.
Probably true.
Can we run down them real fast? What did Eisenhower do that you would indict him for?
Eisenhower overthrew the conservative nationalist government of Iran with a military coup. He overthrew the first and last democratic government in Guatemala by military coup and invasion, leading to years of, in Iran, it led to 25 years of brutal dictatorship, finally overthrown in 79. In Guatemala, it led to massive atrocities, which are still continuing. That's after almost 50 years. In Indonesia, this wasn't known until recently, but he conducted the major clandestine terror operation of the post-war period up until Cuba and Nicaragua in an effort to break up Indonesia, strip off the outer islands where most of the resources are, and undermine what was then considered as a threat of Indonesian democracy. Indonesia was too free and open. It was allowing a political party of the poor to participate. They were gaining a lot of ground, so that Eisenhower supported and helped instigate a military rebellion in the outer islands. This is just for starters. These are all indictable offenses.
What about Kennedy?
Kennedy was one of the worst. Kennedy, first of all, invaded South Vietnam. During the Eisenhower administration, they had blocked a political settlement in 1954 and instituted a kind of a Latin American style terror state, which had killed maybe 60 or 70,000 people by the end of the Eisenhower period, and had instigated a response, a reaction. Kennedy recognized that it couldn't be controlled internally, so he simply invaded. In 1962, about a third of the bombing missions that were carried out by the U.S. Air Force in U.S. planes with South Vietnamese insignia, but U.S. pilot. He authorized napalm. He began the use of chemical weapons to destroy food crops. They began programs which drove millions of people into what amounted to concentration camps. So that's aggression. In the case of Cuba, it was just a massive campaign of international terrorism, which almost led to the destruction of the world, led to the missile crisis. And we can continue. indictable offenses.
Johnson.
Well, Johnson expanded the war in Indochina to the point where it ended up probably leaving 3 or 4 million people dead. He invaded the Dominican Republic to block what looked like a potential democratic revolution there, supported the Israeli occupation in its early stages. Again, we can go around the world. Take, say, Carter. You know,
I'll get there, but Nixon's next.
Nixon, we don't even have to talk about. We can skip that one, okay? But
Ford.
Well, Ford was only there for a short time, but long enough to endorse the Indonesian invasion of East Timor, which became about as close to genocide as anything in the modern period. They pretended to oppose it, but secretly supported, in fact, not so secretly, the U.S. Immediately after the invasion, the U.S. did join the rest of the world in formally condemning it at the Security Council. But Ambassador Moynihan was kind enough to explain to us, in his words, that his instructions were to render the United Nations utterly ineffective in any actions it might take to counter the Indonesian invasion. And he says proudly that he did this with considerable success. His next sentence says, in the next few months, it seems that about 60,000 people were killed. And then he goes off to the next topic. That's the first few months, went on to probably hundreds of thousands. Formally, the U.S. announced a boycott of weapons, but secretly increased the supply of weapons, including counterinsurgency equipment, so that the Indonesians could consummate the invasion. That's just a short period in office, but that's indictable. Seriously, in fact, that's a major war crime. Carter increased, as the Indonesian atrocities were increasing. They peaked in 1978. Carter's flow of weapons to Indonesia increased. When Congress imposed human rights restrictions, by then there was a human rights movement in Congress, to block the flow of advanced weaponry to Indonesia, Carter arranged through Mondale, vice president, to get Israel to send U.S. Skyhawks to Indonesia to enable Indonesia to complete what turned out to be.
But yeah, basically, he's going to run down, you know, more than a handful of presidents who had ill dealings with the world and oppression, you know, and covert war tactics with countries that have been at peace with them. But you know, they've all meddled in every other country's business, while here on the home front, you know, they treat their own citizens like crap. They rip their own citizens off. They lie to their own people, you know. But this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. What is this saying that these E's love to sing? You know, a song "Proud to Be an American." You know, it's talking about the Chaldeans, the judgment of the Chaldeans, which you know are today the Edomites, so-called white people. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. How much power do you need? How much money do you need? You know, how much control do you need? And now it's to the point where they are trying to form a new world order, everyone under the same rule of thumb, and they want control over the whole world. They want to monitor the whole world. They want to oppress the whole world. And the Lord is going to intercept and crumble their plans to do this, because the Lord is the King of Kings. The world is His, and He gave it to the Israelites, not you sleazy E's, man. Who enlarges His desire as hell and is as death. Everywhere they go is death and oppression and wrongdoing. Scripture calls them the border of wickedness, because wherever they go is death, hellish conditions they put people under, and they don't give a damn about it. And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increased that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, the debt. They gather and steal and rob and take from everyone. It's talking about these so-called white people, man. That's who exactly the scripture is talking about. That's exactly what they do. That's their history, their track record. Verse 7, Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. And the word booty is just like a spoil, spoils of war. Whenever men went to battle, the parties that won would take, the wives and the treasure, or the take over whatever the people they defeated. So it was called booty, like a treasure, spoils of war. So that's what what that word booty means. And the women were a spoil of war. Verse 8, Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. And this guy, Noam Chomsky, was just going down the rundown these different presidents who have spoiled these other nations, and how they have covertly, used these bogus tactics to gain power and control, through oppression and wrongdoing. Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that covet an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. And they've got a heavy debt to pay, and the Lord is bringing them out of power, and they going to do everything they can, but they're not going to be able to stop it at all. Go to my point. I had something different, but I had to bring that out since that the video went into it. This is I'll probably title this video America's Destruction Prophesied. But America is compared to it doesn't mention America in the scriptures, but it calls a country, the daughter of Babylon, and it talks about this kingdom that will be worse than Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah, and Egypt, and what other fits the description, but this place called America. Um, this is Isaiah chapter 47 and starting at verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. America uh, takes customs and uh, the ways of Babylon. The whole so-called Christmas thing started in Babylon. After Nimrod, and that has become a popular tradition. Um, and it calls it "O Virgin Daughter" because America has never been penetrated. America has never been invaded. You know, in the aspect of war. War has not touched this soil. From another country. The only jump bombs and war acts that have been done in this country were by America to its own citizens. You know, for those that don't remember Black Wall Street, they bombed Black Wall Street because the so-called Negroes were doing well without them. So they had to have everybody dependent on them and under their control. But back to verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the crown. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Are we now experiencing America being exposed for all its wicked deeds and its cruelty? Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. And the Chaldeans were the magi and the sorcerers and the people doing that in the ancient days. And today, America basically hoodwinks everyone with their sorcery and their magic through their media, their pharmaceuticals, and the different chemicals and things they manipulate uh, people's minds, through their witchcraft and their sorcery. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. And Babylon, they had the same type of statue, like the Statue of Liberty in Babylon, and the French sent the Statue of Liberty over to as a gift to mark the new Babylon. And so, it all adds up. The scriptures are painting the picture and bringing out the truth about what's going on. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. You know, and that goes into slavery. The Lord rose them up to punish us, you know, but it was only for it was only supposed to be, you know, for a time. And it was only supposed to be certain, you know, how slavery is supposed to be. But these E's have taken our name away from us, taken our heritage away from us, you know, made us totally confused on who we were. Our people didn't know they were the children of Israel. But when you read the scriptures, it tells you exactly what was going to happen to the children of Israel if they obeyed the Most High and if they disobeyed the Most High. And slavery was one of those things, being carried away in cargo slave ships, being made to forget your heritage and your customs and your language and our power, which is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid the yoke. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. You know, they had a you know, saying manifest destiny, and they knew that they were supposed to do this and come against these people that were looking for them. Cristobal Colon came over here with Hebrew interpreters looking for the children of Israel, the northern tribe, who had already came over here uh, um, years before, um, during the captivity of the northern kingdom. And but they didn't, you know, really focus on when they were going to have to pay that tab, you know, the latter end of their actions, of what they done. You know, they thought of themselves being in good case because they had the children of Israel in captivity. But the Lord is coming to redeem his people and to take down and recompense the evil that you've done to the world and towards his people. Or to the earth, I should say, the earth and to his people. Therefore, hear now this: thou art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. You know, this is the pride of America talking. You know, they the big bad bully on the block, and no one's gonna mess with them. You know, they have all this military might, all these allies, but what's going on? All your allies is backing up away from you. Everybody's talking behind your back because they're tired of getting screwed over by you and oppressed by you and dropped bombs on by you and sanctioned by you, demonized in the media by you. Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. See that? America deals heavily in enchantments and in sorcery through their media and their pharmaceuticals, mostly. They have hoodwinked and had the whole world tricked at one point. But the Lord had taken the blindfold off of his people, you know, his men that he chose, and certain others, even among themselves. Like this guy, Noam Chomsky. He's bringing out all of this, you know, what you call a whistleblower. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. Because you know, America is very proud and very knowledgeable in wickedness, you know, and it has perverted them to think that, you know, they can't be touched. Thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. But no one is going to be able to save them because it's the Lord's will. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander, every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. You know, everybody that's, you know, your allies, they gonna dip on you, man. Like we see. You know, I'm gonna grab another precept. Psalms chapter 137. Oh, brother. This is Psalms chapter 137 and verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. You know, and how you notice it's talking about America, I'll start at the top. And it reads, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remember Zion. You know, this talking about the the constancy of the Jews in captivity. The prophet curses Edom and Babel. That's the title of this, the header on this chapter. You know, because the true Jews have been in captivity over and over again. You know, not the story that they try to portray of them being of certain people being Jews, but the Bible has a history of the Jews going into captivity after captivity after captivity after captivity. You know, and I'll start Psalms 137 at the top. Verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remember Zion, remembering Jerusalem. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. And what that is what they call a Negro spiritual. the swing low, sweet chariot coming to take me home, and those are the songs of Zion. No one else fits these events and prophecies, but the children of Israel, in the who in this particular case were the so-called Negroes, one tribe, the tribe of Judah. One tribe of out of the 12 tribes of Israel. The slave master required a song. I'm gonna skip down to verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, who are the so-called Caucasians, um, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Even back in when we were in Jerusalem in 70 A.D., they ransacked the Jerusalem. And the Lord told our people, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee into the wilderness. That's how we ended up on the west coast of Africa, blending in with other dark-skinned races that were not the same people as us, which in turn rounded us and sold us into captivity to these guys, to these sleazy E's, man. It all makes sense, but they have to pay for that. Going to verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. So that's talking about payback, man. And the Lord is going to lead the way. He's causing all this turmoil for these Edomites, man. He's causing all this uproar. Um, we'll go to the book of Jeremiah. Salakia. Jeremiah 50. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, and verse 1. The word of the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet.